TYT Sports, Ben Mankiewicz here. Game 2 of the NBA Finals is in the books, and finally LeBron James acted like a man. So thankfully Cramp Gate is over, and the silly notion that there was something wrong with LeBron James or that he should have toughed it out. I got news for you. You can't walk when you have cramp. You can't play basketball. They did everything they could. It happens to everybody. So James doesn't just play through the conditions in game 2. He thrives. He gets 14 in the third quarter, including 7 in like 45 seconds. He wasn't hitting jumpers, and then all of a sudden in the third quarter, he's hitting everything. 14 of the Heat's 34. But the third quarter of this game was like a different game. The Spurs actually won the quarter 35-34. You had 69 points scored in one quarter of a game that only saw 194 points. So it was Spurs basketball in the third quarter, but ultimately it gave James the kind of feel for the game that ultimately I think won it for the Heat, and they dominated the last, certainly the last 3 minutes of the game. Basically, the Spurs didn't score in the last 2.5 minutes of the game, except for a meaningless 3 at the buzzer that cut the lead from 5-2. But the game was over, and the Heat won it down the stretch. Big missed free throws by the Spurs after Chalmers' incredibly ungraceful and flagrant elbow into Parker. Parker stays down for a long time after the gut punch, and then comes up, misses 2 free throws. Duncan misses 2 free throws. Those points lost. You figure if they hit 3 out of 4 of those free throws, we may well have a different situation down the stretch. Heat take home court advantage back. They don't lose 2 straight games. They haven't lost any games right now in the postseason at home. But then again, they have played the Bucks and the Nets and the Pacers. Pacers, a little something, but winning games against the Bucks and the Nets at home, nobody cares. So I don't think they'll sweep 2 games here at home. I think the Spurs win a game, and we're all glad that the NBA has gone back to the 2-2-1-1-1, because there would be the danger then of the Heat running off 3 straight wins and winning this series 4-1. So, okay, so Jason Rubin, our producer, is here. There were some milestones passed in this game that everyone should be really excited about. What were they?
So first, Tim Duncan tied Magic Johnson, and I'm going to safely assume is going to pass Magic Johnson for most playoff double-doubles all time with 157. Absurd. Greatest power forward of all time. It's the Tony Parker. It's either 12th or 13th on the.
Tim Duncan's the greatest power forward of all time. That's done.
I'm pretty. I mean, in my lifetime, and I'm 22 years of age.
That's all we need. That's all we need. Just a little qualifier to acknowledge that maybe there were some guys who played in the 1970s and 80s you might not have seen.
I wasn't alive for them.
He might be. There's no way that you can compare Tim Duncan to Elvin Hayes. You might not even know who Elvin Hayes is. And I'm not saying he's better. I'm just throwing a great power forward out there.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see, Tony Parker, like 12th or 13th all-time now, passing Michael Jordan for career playoff assists.
I'll tell you what's amazing about that stat is that Michael Jordan was there in the top 15 in assists. But it's going to go back to my original point about these numbers, which is that they're basketball flat numbers, and they don't mean anything. Because obviously, Tim Duncan has been in a gazillion playoff games. At some point, he's just going to pass people. I mean, ultimately, the list of the all-time playoff scorers is just going to be made up of the guys who played the most playoff games. And Duncan has played a long time, and he's been healthy, and he's been sensational, so he's going to climb that list. Jordan, though, remember, not a point guard, and to find himself, no matter how many playoff games he played, to find himself atop that list is close to the top of that list or in the top 15. That's impressive. In a sense, I'm surprised Parker isn't higher on the assist list. But Tony Parker has not consistently always been the kind of point guard who gets a lot of assists. Who gets as many assists as the big-time assist guys. He never was up there getting John Stockton-type numbers. You always feel like Parker is frequently, like if basketball assists were scored like hockey assists, Tony Parker would lead the league. Because there's frequently Parker to Ginobili to Green for 3, good, right? So Ginobili gets that assist. I don't know. That's just...
On that note, then you have like just about every player on the Spurs would have the all-time lead in assists.
Especially, this version of the Spurs and the way they move the ball. The great matchup of this playoffs, I think I read this on Grantland, and it's so true, is the sort of precision, beautiful offense that the Spurs run against the sort of frantic defense that the Heat plays. And I think the Heat won this battle in this game after a 35-34 third quarter. Then all of a sudden we went into a very stiff, kind of awkward, not terribly pretty half-court game that saw the final score in the fourth quarter of 21-18. And really, again, 21-15 before the Spurs hit that meaningless three at the end of the game. That's the Heat defense really dominating in this situation.